Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm your host, Raylene Marks, bringing you the top stories making headlines in Israel. And before we get into today's top stories, I'd just like to extend the prayers and condolences from Lay of the Land to the victims and the families of the horrendous attack in Christchurch that took place on Friday when 50 worshippers were killed in a mosque. Mowing down people because you are driven by hate while they are at prayer is absolutely grotesque, and we the Jewish people mourn with our Muslim brothers and sisters. We understand all too well what it means to be the target of hate, the target of terror, and for our innocents to be killed in cold blood while they are at prayer. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you all. And sadly, terrorism is the subject of our top story today in Israel. Yesterday, a terror attack occurred at the Ariel Junction, which has claimed the lives of two Israelis. 19-year-old Gal Kaidan, a soldier in the IDF, who was the first to be named, and the second victim named today, Rabbi Aviad Ettinger, 47 years old, and a father of 12. May their memories be blessed. And as we speak, a massive manhunt is underway to catch their killer, Omar Abu Laila, who is currently at large. Now, the horrible and cruel irony of it all is that Abu Laila's family will receive a monthly stipend and a salary from the Palestinian Authority, who use the much needed aid that comes to the West Bank to rather fund and reward these families, thereby creating a horrible economy of terror. And it is our appeal to the international community to stop allowing this to happen. Stop allowing the Palestinian Authority to pay the salaries of terrorists, therefore perpetuating this ugly, ugly economy of murder. Also, as we speak, organizations, political leaders, world leaders, and human rights activists have congregated outside the United Nations Human Rights Council to say enough is enough. It is enough with this disproportionate focus on the state of Israel. It is enough to hold Israel to a different standard than you hold other countries. It is enough that Israelis or the state of Israel does not enjoy equal rights, rather is singled out for approbation time and time again by the United Nations and their grotesque and disproportionate amount of resolutions leveled against the Jewish state. So from around the world, people are gathered to say that we are not asking for preferential treatment. We are saying enough is enough and equal treatment to all. Stop focusing on Israel at the expense of other conflicts around the world. Look at our neighbors in Syria, look at Venezuela, look at yourselves very, very carefully when you elect Iran to head the Women's Rights Council, this a country that hangs homosexuals, that has called for the destruction of Israel, that does not grant its female citizens equal rights. Stop the hypocrisy, stop the double standards. Enough is enough. Lay of the Land adds our voice to those congregated outside the Human Rights Council in Geneva to say enough is enough. And while we're talking about the UN, we did hear a completely out of character condemnation from their special envoy to the Middle East, Nikolai Milodenov, who condemned Hamas for squashing protests taking place in numerous positions around the Gaza Strip with untold violence. Hamas are crushing any protests taking place in the Gaza Strip by the citizens who are complaining about the incredible cost of living that just continues to rise and rise. Now, the Gaza Strip receives some $2 billion annually in aid, and instead of this aid being used to help the citizens of the beleaguered strip in building hospitals, providing employment, providing schooling, and providing much needed infrastructure, Hamas would rather use this money to build tunnels, to fund terror like they did on Thursday night when 2 missiles were launched towards Tel Aviv, thank goodness, intercepted by the Iron Dome, and towards our southern communities on Friday morning. This is what Hamas is busy spending their aid that they receive from countries around the world on, instead of improving the lives of ordinary Gazans. And of course, anybody who is protesting this is being rounded up, as is in the case of journalists and human rights activists, or beaten, or in some cases, killed. The time has come for the international community to also stop turning a blind eye to this, stop blaming Israel for all the ills of the Palestinian people, and start taking a closer look at what is happening in the Gaza Strip perpetuated by Hamas. So this has been a little bit of a Rand-style Israel brief today, but I think it explains the frustration that we are feeling in the region and in the Jewish diaspora communities around the world. Now, for more information, you can check out Lay of the Land online at our website, www.layoftheland.online. Today, you can read all about Nvidia's acquisition of Mellanox. You can also read about scrumptious bread and the incredible breads that are available in and around Israel. You can also check us out online and join our growing Facebook community at Lotl site. That's at LOTL site. And don't forget, you can subscribe to receive your daily edition of the Israel Brief by clicking on the subscribe button below. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Monday edition of the Israel Brief, and we'll talk again tomorrow.